Hi, welcome to Tales from the Tap. My name is Frankie and this is my co-host.
Stan the Man.
We are excited to talk to you about our recap from MagicCon Chicago. But before we do, Stan, what was a big highlight that you had from, like, your top highlight from the weekend?
The biggest highlight for me is probably all the people I got to see over the weekend. For those who don't know, which most of you guys should already know, we're from Chicagoland. I own a game store in Chicagoland. And so I know a pretty good portion of the player base from around here, especially because before I owned a game store, I was playing Magic for like 10 years prior. So I've been in the community for quite a long time, which is a blessing I consider because we have some of the best players out here, some of the nicest players out here. I got to see so many people that I haven't seen in actually years. Like, I think it's 2024 now. I think some of the people I've seen, I saw this weekend, I hadn't seen like since before COVID or before even that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, damn, that's crazy how long it's been. Like I ran into, for example, like one of my good friends, Tina. She's we used to hang out all the time because I would run the gaming goat in Schaumburg back in the day. And when she saw me, she literally started crying. I was like, oh my God, like you're gonna make me cry, like, you know, relax. Like it's like it was really emotional, but we could see a lot of our buddies. I got to find out we had a mutual buddy in Podge. Shout outs to you if you're watching somehow. But I ran into him and I was like, oh my God, no way. Like I saw so many cool people and getting stopped like every 2 seconds, like when I was walking around because people recognized me like, hey, what's up? You know, like let's catch up. It was really cool. I don't know, it felt kind of fun because like I'm not like a celebrity or anything, but like in the area, it felt nice to get recognized by so many different people that either have come to the shop or been to our pre-releases or I played Magic with. They were just like, stop, shoot the shit, let's talk. It was just a good time. And beyond all that, I really, really love Standard. I kept saying how it's like my favorite format right now, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I didn't get enough of it because I'm looking to play some RCQs now. But I don't know, just having such a good time. Salky's making fun of me. He's like, man, Standard's your favorite format? I'm like, dude, Standard is so good right now. Like,
It's good.
It's really good.
Yeah. For me, it would probably be like, and I'm with you on that. I do want to state that I absolutely had an amazing time seeing so many people. I mean, my friend Eric, it's been like he helped me get a job when I was first out of college. Before that, like I was playing Magic with him when I was like 16.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost 30 now. So it was like,
yeah,
I haven't seen you in 10 years and we got to get Commander together. And then we did. We scheduled time. We played Two at a Giant together. We got in a couple Commander pods. It was just like, it was awesome. But
yeah.
My favorite thing probably was I got to see a lot of content creators that I really, really like. I got to take photos with them. But playing in like the PTQ and like I felt really good about my performance in the PTQ. I felt like I built my deck right. I felt like I built my deck smart.
Oh, the limited one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
the limited.
Because day 2 there was a Pro Tour qualifier that was sealed.
Sealed.
Murders of Karlov Manor, which was really cool. I didn't play in that because I don't consider myself as good as Frank at limited specifically, but I was like, more power to you, bro. Good luck.
Yeah, and I felt like I built like a really good deck. All my games were really close, and some of the people that I look up to in Magic, I went farther than PCQ, and so I was like, it made me realize from this whole event that I was like, I can hang with these people now. Like these people that I want to be playing with, like. I can do it. I don't have to, like I told you, I was like, I'm going to go to these next RCQs. Like, I don't care who you are anymore. I'm not scared. I'm ready.
It's a good point. It's like the imposter syndrome definitely can get to you. That's why I always tell all of our players, whenever you're practicing with me, I'll be pretty hard on my players sometimes, especially if they're friends of mine. I'm like, listen, man, do you want to get good or not? Like, if you're asking me, you want to get good, I'm going to be a little bit mean in person. But at the same time, it's only just because, like, if I'm mean to you as a friend, who cares what your opponent is doing? You know, like you're going to judge call everything, no problem. But not just that, that imposter syndrome, it really can get to you where I used to feel the same way as Frank 10 years ago. I'd run into some guys. I'm like, oh man, I'm like shaking. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. You got to get past the results oriented thinking. It's a game of variance at the end of the day. So even if the player across from you is literally better than you, that doesn't mean that they've already won. So like I can sit across from like LSV or Reed Duke, and I'm gonna be like, wow, you know, these are some of the best players of all time. I'm gonna grind. You know what I mean? I'm gonna call them on everything, play the game out, etc. Maybe you have a favorable matchup. You know, who knows? The thing that I really liked was I forgot who it was that you said, but you were watching. Maybe it was CCR. I can't remember, but you said a quote that they had mentioned. Whatever content creator. It was like, I sit across my opponents, and if I don't recognize them, I always think I'm better than them. And I have to get that out of my mindset. I forgot who you said that. But I believe it was you. Maybe it was somebody else. But it's true. Like, a lot of people won't recognize an opponent and just automatically assume, oh, this guy's not as good as me. He doesn't know the people I'm testing with, etc. And when you play enough Magic and you're grinding enough, sometimes that is true. Sometimes your opponent might not be as good as you, strictly because you've never heard of them. But more often than not, it's just better that you respect your opponent. Always put them on, he's going to make the optimal plays, and then you play your best Magic and just be confident. If you're confident in yourself and the deck choices, the results will come. And if you're putting the work in, then the investment should actually pay off.
Well, and I think to that point, the big thing I found personally, and I find this in a lot of people as well, is that when they downsize their opponent, being like, oh, this guy's a chump, you let your guard down, and then you start playing sloppy because you're like, I'm better than them.
Yeah. It shouldn't even be a factor. Like, when you're thinking about the game, you should only be thinking about the game.
The game, yeah.
It's crazy, though, because like I feel the same way, like in a lot of ways, because I haven't played competitive tournaments in a while, so I consider myself pretty rusty. The last big event I played at was a Team Nerd Rage we did in St. Louis. So for a lot of you guys that are listeners, that was a while ago. A lot of you guys probably play more Magic than me currently. I used to play a ton. I had to go to a tournament like every weekend if I could. But as a shop owner, it's hard for me to get weekends off. So going into the MagicCon 75K, I was like, man, I'm pretty rusty, but let's see what happens. And I felt like I was playing really, really clean, good Magic. And it felt really good because a lot of the players, once I got to 2-1, 3-1, my opponents were very, very good players. Like, I think round 4, I want to say I played against Dana Fisher, I believe her name is. You might not know her, but I know you follow a lot of content creators. This is one of the ones that I follow, actually, because she's been playing since she was a young lady.
Oh, yes.
And I used to grind the Star City Games events with Todd and all of our buddies. We'd go play all the Star City Games tours, and she was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 playing combo elves, so she was my opponent. I think she's in high school now, so I want to say she's like 14. I actually don't know, but she was my round 4 opponent. She's playing Golgari mid-range and really, really tight. She's really good. She's on Team Logic Knot, and I was just playing pretty clean. And then the next round, I don't know, I recognized the player, but I forgot his name. It's probably on Melee for anybody that wants to check, but my round 5 opponent was playing Boros Convoke. And he was really good. I could tell he was really good. Everything, his mannerisms, the way he was playing, his focus was clean, even though we couldn't really hear each other over the Commander games that were going on. But anyways, he was really good, and I ended up being the better player. So I was like really proud of myself because that guy was really sharp. And then by game 3, where I just had him locked out, he goes Invasion of Gobakhan. I only have a Tidebinder in my hand, but I had 5 mana open, so I was like, here you go. And then he looks at his hand, looks at his board state, and he's like, oh, you got it. And I'm like, wow, like really clean, I felt really good about it. And then he even goes to me like, well, why didn't you respond to my invasion with your Tashanas? I'm like, because I could still cast it. I could just respond to anything else you cast, like Imminent Recruiter or whatever. And then even he was like, oh, wow, you're right. I don't know why I thought that. So I was like, okay, so like, even at this level, I can still end up teaching somebody something. So I felt really good about it. I ended up getting knocked out round 7. So round 6, I lost to Toxic, which felt pretty unwinnable. That put me to 4-2. And then round 7, I played against, I forgot his name. Really, really nice guy. He was playing Esper mid-range, and I was playing the Azorius control list. So we had a really, really tight game 1 that was going long. So I was pretty confident. I was like, okay, it's going long. I should be able to win this. Unfortunately, I never hit a memory deluge, so I was just pretty much top deck mode the whole time. And with the Azorius control deck, if you never hit a memory deluge, it really feels like your deck is like tier 2. Like Azorius control, you hit 1 or 2 memory deluges. Honestly, even just the 1, because you can flash it back. You're like, oh wow, this is the best deck in the format. You don't hit a memory deluge, and you get very little deduces, and you kind of just sit there like, oh, land, well, I'm playing 27 lands. This is my fault. It is unfortunate, but a game that I thought I could have won ended up losing in like 38 minutes, and I grinded game 2 out to where he only had 2 life left, but we were in turn 5, so I would have been able to tie, but that would have only got me to cash, because then I would have been 5-2-1 as a result, which would have been nice, because I ended up at 106 or 107, I want to say.
Oof.
And so the payout was top 96. It was pretty cool, though. I had a really good time. I'm so sad that I didn't get to day 2 because I just wanted to play more standard. And for those that don't know, if you were at MagicCon, buying event tickets or registering for events was a nightmare. I couldn't play the standard cup day 2. That was like $40 entry or whatever, but it was supposed to be 7 rounds of standard. I was like, I want to play in that. I want to play more standard. I love this format. Couldn't get signed up even though I waited in line for like an hour and a half. So there's that. I ended up winning a box at least of Karlov Manor and like a side event, but then after that I was just going around meeting people, hanging out, checking out the shops, etc. I'm not really much of a commander player or a con goer, so I was mostly just walking around trying to find people to talk to and watch their games, etc.
Yeah. Before we get too much further into MagicCon, let's do our housekeeping. So if you do want to support the show, the best way to do that is via our Patreon, patreon.com/talesfromthetap. If you do, not only are you supporting us and helping us keep the lights on, but you also can get some sweet perks. So we do have getting access to the episode early, you giving us a deck list that we'll then play on stream, deck techs if you want help with like sideboard guides or...
Sideboard guides really matter, guys. I cannot tell you the amount of times at MagicCon I pulled out my sideboard guide and my opponents were like, you know what I mean? Like, damn, this guy's ready.
He's ready for what I'm playing.
Every deck was on my list.
Yeah. And then at the top tier, you can get some coaching from us in the format of your choice. We do not recommend you go beyond modern. We kind of play limited, standard, pioneer, modern. We can find someone to help you with legacy, but I can't help you with that.
Yeah, if I haven't played a deck in a while, I wouldn't recommend the top tier, only because like you're better off paying for a lower tier, and then I'll just play your deck on stream. Usually I'm pretty quick to pick up a deck list, but if you want like coaching on a specific deck, well, if you are subscribed to the top tier, we end up chatting with you guys anyway. But I would definitely give me a heads up, because I will do homework on your deck. I'll play your deck on my free time, actually study it, ask my friends that are proficient with the deck, so that I can get better before I actually start testing with you. I've done so for numerous of our patrons already, where they're like, I like this deck in Modern. And even though I consider myself a really good Modern player and I play a lot of Modern, I don't know every deck. Well, at least I should say I don't know every deck as well as the top players of those decks, respectively. Yeah. So I'm not going to be like, hey, let me sit down and coach you on Amulet Titan. I'm gonna go, hold on, give me a week. Let me go hit up my Amulet Titan buddies. Let me play with them. Let me have them help me build up my repertoire, and then I'll sit down with you and show you some notes. Yeah. That kind of stuff we're always happy to help you with.
Yeah. In addition, you can get additional perks via our Discord channel. We do have extra channels for those that are part of the Patreon, but the Discord is free to anyone, and you can jump in to we're chatting about Standard, we're chatting about Modern, we're chatting about Pioneer constantly. So, but...
It's a good way to borrow cards if you're in the Chicagoland area as well. We were posting cards that we needed to borrow from each other, people that were meeting up at MagicCon, etc. And if you just want to sit there and chat and meet other people, we have friends that are just there chatting about all kinds of stuff with our hobbies and whatnot. We have a photos channel for all of our pets, etc.
Yeah. But we do also appreciate everyone that maybe can't support via Patreon. If you're just giving us a listen, you followed us, subscribe via YouTube, any of it, you just being here really means a lot to us, and we appreciate it. So thank you.
And I know I've been saying I'm going to do more streaming. Now that MagicCon is over, I swear, I must have time somewhere. I will try to get some more streams in, at least twice a month if I can. And we haven't gotten to record it yet because everybody was at MagicCon, but we want to get some EDH gameplay on our YouTube channel for you guys as well. So if you're local to us and you want to play some Commander with us, or if you ever come into the Chicagoland area and you want to meet up and play some Commander, we are recording with, can't see them up there. I have some cameras that we use for our weekly match recordings. And we are doing more than just Magic now for the store channel for Boardshead Gaming. But for MTG Chicago, shout out to Sal, he lets us borrow the cameras, especially the one we're recording the podcast now, and we will put your gameplay on our channels, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you haven't, follow us, Twitter, YouTube. We'll be doing a giveaway via YouTube soon. And I will also get to some more streaming as well. With my double theater schedule, it's been really tough, but the double is done. I'm now down to single, which means my weekends are back, which means RCQs are back and streaming's back.
Yeah, so, Frank and I do plan on playing an RCQ this weekend, and I'm hosting an RCQ
too for me
this Saturday at the shop here that I can't play in. So that should be... Frank should be able to win that one, and then I'll win the one on Sunday. We'll see how that goes.
Well, if that happens, I'm not bringing you to the one on Sunday.
I'll take an Uber.
Awesome. I think that is it for housekeeping. Let's get into the rest of just recapping MagicCon Chicago. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say about the 75K? I know you kind of recapped.
I guess I can give like a true recap, just a quick synopsis. So I posted it in Discord for those who are already in there for the most part. Round one, I played against a really cool guy. He was playing Esper midrange. It's already a pretty grindy matchup. Esper midrange, I feel like, is slightly favored in the matchup still. At least I would say personally. 52-48. It just depends on what your brew is, honestly. Some Esper deck lists, I think, are less optimal against Azorius specifically, but that's kind of the beauty of Standard right now, where like depending on your version of Azorius Control or Esper midrange or what version of Rakdos or Golgari you're playing, it doesn't feel like you can never beat every deck efficiently. It's like your deck is better against these but worse against these as a result. Oh, you have temporary lockdown, so you're better against Convoke but worse against these guys. You can't get everybody. So Standard is really, really balanced right now, in my opinion. And so I think I could have won that game or the match, but I lost round one, unfortunately, because I had to mulligan every single game. I mulligan games 1, 2, yeah, all three I mulligan to 5. Game 1, I almost turned the corner, but I was not able to resolve a field nuke as a result of a counter spell, which it is what it is. Maybe if I had an extra field nuke, it would have been fine. Game 2, even though I multi-5, I managed to grind it out, and then I won the game. We only had about 12 minutes left, so I thought it was going to be a tie, but I had to mulligan to 5 again, and then I ended up barely losing. I got really close to like wiping all his board out, but unfortunately had the Restless Anchorage to finish me off with a Rafine. And then I was pretty disheartened whenever it lost round 1, because I was like, man, I had 2 dreams going into MagicCon, and one of them was 0-3, and the other one was like 6-0. So I was like, well, it looks like I'm going 0-3. But no, after that I was able to go 4 wins in a row, so that was pretty nice. I know it wasn't as nice for you and Gabe, but I was feeling really, really good, and I was really enjoying the format. Round 2, man, I really should pull up this message because I don't remember my round 2 opponent now, or I might confuse him with my round 3 opponent.
It's okay. While you do that, I'll give a quick recap because you just highlighted it about it not being great for me.
Sure.
I had a really bad day of variance. So my round 1, I was facing the I can't think of the name of the card. It's 1 blue.
Reenact the Crime.
Reenact the Crime. I was playing against Reenact the Crime Reanimator.
So like Dimir Reanimator, yeah.
Yeah, round 1. And I start with a hand of Mirrex, Fields of Ruin, no other lands, the rest are spells. Okay, mulligan.
Yeah.
Second hand, just a Mirrex, spells. Okay, go down to 5.
Right.
And then we went 40 minutes into that game 1.
Yeah.
My opponent had 5 cards left in library and was able to get like push-pull, reanimate 2 creatures, exactly kill me.
Yeah.
So I still grinded really hard, despite the fact that like I started with like on the back foot.
It just sucks because you're like, man, if I had just kept my 6, like if only my 6 was keepable and I had that 1 extra deluge and I was just 1 turn ahead, you know, like that is, unfortunately, it just happens. And Frank had one of those days where like the variance just kills you.
Yeah, I played one game, then we did get a second game, never got to finish it, round 1. Then I lost into round 2, and then I tied in round 3, and I mulliganed a total of, I multiplied twice, I multiplied 4 times. So oof. I was mulliganing like an absolute champion the whole day. My round 2 opponent was Esper, and I didn't have we're into the blind. I keep a 6, game 1, don't have counter magic, and didn't have Get Lost in hand. They went turn 3, wedding announcement. Turn 4, wedding announcement. And for a blue-white control player, you're not playing Farewell on the main board, so you're pretty much I need to get...
Well, we weren't, but I am now.
We weren't. Other people were. So I was like, well, I guess my goose is cooked. We go to game 2. I mulligan pretty aggressively again. I am stuck on 4 lands. My opponent is on 6. They have, I think, 3 tokens out. No Rafine at this point. I go to Wandering Emperor, hoping it gets countered. They counter it. Make Disappear. Great. Go back to my turn. Depopulate. That's why I was hoping it got countered. Make Disappear. I'm like, oh, that's rough. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they play Rafine. They swing in for a lot. I go, all right, back to my turn. Farewell. Make Disappear. And I was like, well, 3 Make Disappears. You got it.
Yeah, exactly. Triples is best.
Yeah, triples is best. And triples hurts. And then game 3, I faced Domain. Felt really good. Won game 1. Lost game 2, just barely. There was 4 minutes left in the round. We ended up drawing. And I know you're not supposed to do this. We rolled for the game because you're not supposed to.
He didn't say nothing.
But
he didn't say anything.
For the reason being...
But apparently Frank is also bad at dice.
Yeah. Reason being is that 6 and 2 makes day 2. So if we draw, we knock each other out of the event. Right. And so it's like, if one of us concedes, you're still alive.
Yeah. Because I was in the mode of standard, I would have just taken the draw. I'm like, see you at top 90.
Yeah, see you at the Burger Shack.
Yeah, right. But that's because I just wanted to play Magic. But I think I wouldn't have enjoyed standard as much if I wasn't playing against the best players. So yeah, I definitely understand why you wanted to just drop and go do anything else. Which there was a lot to do at MagicCon, so especially on Friday when they weren't breaking everything.
And I did some sweet stuff that Friday.
Yeah. What's it called? But yeah, so as far as my games went, the round 1 loss to Esper midrange felt really bad, but it felt less bad when I was 4-1. Round 2, I also played against Esper midrange, and I actually played against, I think he works for Chupacabra Games, but he's been to the shop here before because we recognize each other, and I was like, oh, so we started, just chatting. But I ended up managing to grind him out 2-0, which it felt pretty good, but I know that Esper on paper is theoretically more consistent than Azorius. I just feel like as a player, I feel confident in the matchup. I don't usually feel like Esper is the matchup I'm scared of, as much as I'd be scared to see Mono Red or Toxic. So I was, pretty happy with the matchup. I felt pretty happy with the way I played, and I got the game. So there wasn't really anything interesting about that match. Round 3, this one was rough. I played against four color legends, the Slowcurk deck, but not the combo one that won the tournament. Clean 2-0. It's not really a hard matchup to begin with, but I felt really, really bad for this guy because we got deck checked that round. So I was in my head, man, it's going to be a really slow round for my opponent because we're going to go to 60 minutes now that we have a 10-minute deck check. But, man, God was with me that day, or the judge was on my side or something. But when we get our decks back, they're like, hey, you guys are both good. You have a damaged sleeve, so I have to replace one of my sleeves, whatever. I was already prepped. Replace the sleeve instantly. We're good. We shuffle up. We go. I have a really good hand, so I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Keep. I don't know what my opponent's playing, but I'd keep that hand against anybody. I don't remember what it was, but it was probably 3 or 4 lands and spells, something like that. If you have a deduce in your opening hand, usually you feel pretty good. So I probably had one of those too. My opponent goes turn 2 after he played a Triome. I think it was Zayatora's. He goes Boseiju Inti. And I'm like, Boseiju, nice. In my head, I'm like, okay, he played a Boseiju on turn 2. That means his hand is terrible, or his mana in his hand are terrible. Either way, it's going to stumble, and that's usually what we prey on as the control players. So I'm like, cool. I'm already feeling really good about it. And he goes Inti, no problem. The next turn, he goes I don't remember if he attacked first or not, because I think he was looking for a land, but he had to sacrifice his Boseiju after floating a green mana to play a second Boseiju for his Glissa, and I was just like, it's like the Zuko meme from Avatar. That's rough, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, damn, I felt really bad for him because, like,
are you sure he didn't attack first?
I want to say he did, but
if he attacks, he can discard and then exile hopefully into a land to play.
I understand. I just don't remember if he did or not,
buddy.
I might have had killed the NT. I can't remember. Those first few rounds, because I played so many minutes of Magic total, are kind of blurry still. I should have wrote it down, but game 2 we actually had a pretty grindy game, but mostly because I was just like letting him build up board states that I could manage to wipe out without giving him too much. You know, the trick with the 4-color Legends decks is you don't want to like 1-for-1 them as much as you want to let them build up, but not too much, and then just kind of sweep it all up at once if you can. So I was kind of letting him build up, sweeping it up, and then he was playing this 5-mana guy you would like. I think his name is Kotose,
the spider,
something like that, where it's like exile surgical you.
Yes,
I get your guy.
Yes,
and so he surgical my Sunfalls, then he surgical my Wandering Emperors, and then he surgical my Deduces. He didn't get to resolve the first 2, but he got to resolve like the Deduce at the end there. And I was like, this is fun. You know, we're having a good time. But I'm having a better time because I know in my head, like, I'm never going to lose to this Kotose guy. This is cool. But at the end of the day, I have like 2 farewells in my hand or something. And so I ended up winning the match. We talk about like, yeah, man, that sucks. You know, the bad beats, game 1, etc. But had a good time. Whatever. He was really cool. And then, that put me to 2-1, so I was feeling extra good about having lost round 1 at that point. I was like, you know what? Maybe I wouldn't have been 2-1 if I had won round 1, so we'll see how that goes. And then round 4, I got to play against Dana, which is cool because, like I said, I'm a fan. We got to trade tokens. I gave her a Boar Hat token. She gave me her little elf token that she had. I was like, this is cool.
Cute.
She's playing Golgari mid range. This was the first match that I actually struggled with for the day because I mean, like, obviously I lost round 1, but it wasn't like I struggled. If anything, I felt like if I had one more card in either of my losses, like I would have won. Just mulliganing to 5 is just kind of like impossible, especially because with control, when you mulligan to 5, you're keeping like a 3 or 4 lander usually if you can help it, which is you know, it is what it is. But game 1 for her felt really bad. She had to mulligan to 5 game 1, so like. Game 1 felt like I was playing against a 14-year-old because it was just not close. Like I was like, damn, this sucks for her, but like I'm not gonna like not play.
Right.
And you could tell she was disappointed. I mean, I was disappointed too because I want to play, but she was just like, going to 5. Yeah, I'm like, I feel you, man. I was there earlier today. Game 2, we have a really good game. Grind it out. She has me with like double duress Liliana. I hit we get to a point actually where I have a Wandering Emperor on top. Both of us have nothing. But on her top it's a I want to say Mosswood Dread Knight. And I'm like, you know what? I think my top decks are gonna be better than yours. I'm not gonna let you have that Dread Knight. I Field of Ruin a land, so she has to shuffle. I shuffle with my Wandering Emperor. She shuffles away the Dread Knight because I didn't want her to go like draw a card, hit another good spell, crush me. Plus the Dread Knight's such a hard card to deal with as a control player.
Yeah.
And
because you have to exile it.
There's you just have to. After she shuffles and draws, it's a Preacher. So then I hit land and I'm like, damn, I should have just kept the Emperor. So I lost that game, but I think she grinded me out in a way that was like, I think she was going to win the game no matter what. I let her have that Mosswood Dread Knight. She's probably drawing into more gas anyway. Game 3, another grindy game, but I managed to clutch it out. We were both playing like really fast, and then once I turned the corner and like I had her on like sorry if you guys heard that. Once I had her with like nothing, and I had like Wandering Emperor, Restless Anchorage, I was just like, let's go, and I could just like feel. It's like I don't know if you have this, but like when like good players are playing against each other, you'll both know when it's over, and it like I could see like the lights go out of her eyes, and she's like, yeah, I'm out, and I'm like, yeah, it's done. I just have 2 minutes left on the clock, get it done. And I got the match. It was cool. Good people. Round 5, I played against Boros Convoke. We talked about that one. My opponent was really good. I think he was the best player I played against that day. Maybe besides Russell in round 7. That was his name. Boros Convoke guy. Game 1 goes according to plan. Just, lockdowns and have spells. We built our deck for Boros Convoke. It worked out. Game 2, I lost. I kept a 3-lander that had Seachrome Coast, so I was going to have untapped on turn 3. It had Lockdown, 2 Wandering Emperors, and a Sunfall. And I was like, oh, this is snap keep, you know what I mean? Like, no interaction early game, but I can sweep them, we're good. I never hit a 4th land, and so like my one lockdown that I got to resolve was like a really medium one, not good. The next turn, he resolves Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose this game. And I was so nervous. I was like, dude, if I lose this game and I lose game 3, because I didn't mulligan a 3-lander, you know what I mean? That one was like definitely the bad beats. Like you keep a really nasty 7, and then God is like, stop, you lose this one. But game 3, got him, grinded out, no problem. Didn't miss my land drops. I actually got to a nasty board state where like I was coming up to board state, and now I had like Wandering Emperor tokens. I had a Denic. I was plussing on my Denic with Wandering Emperor. I was like, attack me whenever you're ready, buddy. Like while I'm drawing cards and not casting field nukes. If you can get to that point against the Boros deck, you're like cooking with gas. But after that, I lost to Toxic in round 6. Nothing to talk about. Just got poisoned out. Couldn't interact. Couldn't do anything. Temporary lockdown. I resolved 4 temporary lockdowns in game 2, and I got to a point where he had nothing, and I drew. No, like 7 lands in a row. None of them had like abilities. So I was like, how am I losing this game? Ooh. And I resolved 4 lockdowns that game. He was like, wow, another one. I'm like, I know. I'm trying to win this game too. You know, we're going to tie. I swear. Well, yeah, 7 lands in a row. All Seachrome Coasts or Deserted Beaches or whatever. No abilities. No Restless Anchorage, sadly. But that's why I lost round 7. Or round 6. Round 7, I lost in 1 to Esper. And then round 8, I played against like some Naya Humans deck, but I was already out. So like by that point, I was mentally checked out.
I watched you win that.
Yeah, that was not even a real game of Magic. That guy's deck was something. But me and Julian were mostly just like talking to each other. Where we're like, I felt really bad, but me and Julian were sitting across from each other, and our opponents were like playing Magic, I think, and we're just like crushing them while we're talking to each other. And I'm just like, okay, that's kind of dickish. I had to turn it off a little bit. I mean, we were being really respectful to our opponents, but like, I think I had a turn where I like untapped, and he's like, "Your Emperor's dead." I'm like, "Oh yeah, she's dead. It doesn't matter."
I watched that too. I was like,
"It was like she doesn't have the counters on her, buddy. I know." But like, I was just so trying to get my turns done because I was like, I didn't want to play anymore, but I also didn't want to like lose the match.
Yeah.
So I was like, just scoop already. Which, to be fair, he scooped. He was like, "Yeah, you got it." Both games. He didn't force me to play it out.
I could not believe that he scooped that last game where you were at like 3 life, and he was like top decking, and I was like,
yeah. I was at like 4 life. He scooped when he could have. I mean, if he would have hit like Immodane's Recruiter and Immodane's Recruiter, maybe he could have won. I don't know. I think I would have still got there anyway, just because I'm pretty sure I had a Memory Delusion in my graveyard, but I don't know. It was not a fun match. By then, though, I was already kind of sad that I was not going to day 2. And then I didn't know this, but I was going to be really mad the next day when I didn't get to play in the Standard Cup because Pastimes is absolutely the worst at running events.
So bad at running events.
I don't know why. It's always them. It's always them, and it's always terrible.
Close. Their system went down for like a whole day. I'm like, I don't know how Wizards is not like, you know how much money we lost?
Wizards is like, oh, we love Pastimes. I'm like, please, just Nerd Rage. They're right there.
I know.
They're so good. I love Norm. They're so good.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's how my 70 Hurricane went, and I had a really good time. Honestly, such a good time that I was like, as soon as I was done, I was like, Julian, Frank, everybody, like, where's the next RCQ? Because I want to go. And they're like, it's at your shop. I was like, oh, what about Sunday?
Yeah. So the rest of that day, the rest of that Friday, I then went to go do a 14-person draft with my the podcast that I really like listening to for Limited is the Lords of Limited, and the co-host that wasn't playing in the PT was like, let's just. I brought a box.
I learned their names for Frank. He was playing with Mr. Metronome.
Yes,
the guy that looks like Ned Flanders, which I love. By the way, I saw the photos of them, and I'm like, this guy is the Rizzler. He's so cool. He's got like tucked in shirt, pants, belt, and then like the beard. I'm like, oh my god, I love this guy. I'm like in love with him. And then the other guy is Tupperware, Lord Tupperware, and he was on the Pro Tour, I believe.
Yes,
which is why he was busy.
Yes, he was okay. Awesome for him, by the way. He did the Pro Tour. He didn't make day 2.
Well, he was one of the people that registered 14% to lose.
Yes, he registered Rakdos midrange, the non-vampires version.
Can I just tell the meme really quick?
Yes.
For those that don't know the meme, because I'm not just trying to be an asshole. Gabriel Nassif,
yes,
I believe, yes. Gabriel Nassif posted a tweet that was 14% of the Pro Tour players registered a deck just to lose, which is
a hot take.
The balls on that guy.
Yeah,
I respect him.
Wowie wow.
That's the energy I simp for. Anyways, 14% was 2 decks, which was Rakdos midrange and Azorius control. So everybody's like, which 14%, Gabriel? And it was Rakdos midrange.
Yeah, Rakdos midrange had like the highest losing percentage of any deck. It had like a 43% win rate.
Yeah, I mean, we did have like the surprise deck that people didn't know. I guess some people didn't know about, but like Rakdos Vampires effectively was like the go-to deck, and if you weren't playing that, you were playing the wrong Rakdos deck, which is crazy.
Yeah, and let me say, the Rakdos Vampires deck is hot, and I am really hot for tribal decks.
Pioneer RCQs are coming.
And I know, I bought those Vein Rippers before they shop in price here at the store. I was like, ooh. In our Discord, someone was like, ooh, I gotta go get those Vein Rippers. And then someone was like, Frank already bought them at the store. And I was like, shades on.
I know, I felt bad. Like a lot of people asked me for Vein Rippers this week. I was like, I know I don't have them, but I'll check.
That Friday we got back. And I walked up to Todd and I was like, ring me up.
All of them.
Vein Ripper. 4.
But anyways, you get to play with anyway, Mr. Metronome.
Yeah, I got to play with Mr. Metronome. We did a 14-person draft. It was all Lords of the Limited people, which is really cool. And
other subscribers?
They're just like part of the Discord. I believe they're Patreon members.
Sure.
But
everybody in the community.
Yes, it was just people in the community. It wasn't like Patreon specific.
That's cool though, because I know you're engaged in that community and stuff. So it's like other of your homies, and then one of the guys.
Yeah, it's and really one of the guys. And then game 2, I was like praying. I was like, please let me get paired up with Mr. Metronome. Like, I just want to play. Like, even if I lose, I want to play.
Yeah.
And I did get paired up, and I won. And I was like, my whole day's made. Like, I truthfully, like, this was one of the first events. Like, when I go to an RCQ and I get bad beats, like the way I did in the 75K with, like, just having to mulligan like a champion, I usually feel pretty bad. I feel, like, pretty annoyed, like, pretty frustrated. Like, I trained hard. I work hard to practice. Stan and I were running the same 75, by the way, if you were wondering. We didn't say that. We were running the exact same deck,
list, same sideboard guide.
Same list, same sideboard guide to the
Also, our boy Gabe as well. Shoutouts.
Yeah, 3 people. But I was just saying that, like, I felt like I made good decisions. I felt like I played well in the matches that I had, and I was just happy to be at MagicCon. There's so much more Magic I can go play. I got to see all my favorite content creators. I was like not stressed at all, which is very rare for me. And so yeah, doing that was like really, really sweet. And then got to come connect back with them, see people that I had not seen before. I was like, I had a good day.
Yeah.
Through talking with them, I ended up signing up for the PTQ, which is the next Saturday, which is the Pro Tour qualifier. I'm going to give a little bit of a breakdown of the deck that I ended up going into. I had a really solid pool. I played the 5-color soup list, which is like basically green with another color. I was base green-white, and then ended up like playing a lot of other cards into the deck. So my highlights being that if you haven't heard, and Lords of the Limit even talked about it on their live show, Dogwalker being like the top like common or uncommon in the set. I had two Dogwalkers, a Somala Sentry, which is the green and a white. Whenever you turn a creature face up, that creature gets a counter, and Somala Sentry gets a counter, and it's a 1/3 with reach. Had one of those. I was splashing for 2 Tesas. I had a Mentor of the Meek, which is one of the list cards that is broken. Whenever a creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 if you do draw a card.
Yeah.
All face down creatures.
Mentor of the Meek is such a good card, especially back in the day when you got to play in the Tay-Day. But in this list, I was watching some of Frank's games because I was not doing anything. And his deck, when he was popping off, was nuts.
Yeah, I also had Archdruid's Charm, which could help fix my mana, or was a fight spell.
Yes.
Awesome.
Fight spell, tutor for a really good dude, whatever you need it to do. Card is so nutty.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out on Archdruid's Charm if you can get them cheap, by the way, because especially since we're going into RCQ Season Pioneer, it's still possible that Archdruid's Charm is going to be really good in Standard, but it's almost certainly going to be very, very good in Pioneer.
Oh, it's for sure being played in Lotus Field.
Right now. Exactly. It just get them if you can get them cheap. The people that are sleeping on them are going to regret it. It's kind of like Agatha Soul Cauldron, when I tell people, like, hey, before Murderous comes out, buy your Agatha Soul Cauldrons, and then nobody listened, and then boom, they shut up. I was like, well,
I should have got them.
But yeah, not as expensive though. So
yeah, I then had Aurelia's Vindicator, which, if you don't know, is the 4-mana angel that you can pay 3, 1 white, and X, and basically flip the creature up and exile any amount of creatures from the battlefield or graveyard. When Vindicator dies, you put those cards back in your hand. So you can basically take your own stuff from your graveyard to then shoot back into your hand to like refill.
Yeah, it's the Restoration Angel or whatever.
Yeah, so and then you can exile their board. It's crazy. I had Case of the Locked Hothouse, which after you solve the case, you get to start playing creatures, enchantments, and lands off the top of your deck.
Oh yeah.
And then the other green great common is the Loxodon Eavesdropper. It's the 4 and a green 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you investigate. Whenever you crack a clue, whenever you draw your second card each turn, Loxodon Eavesdropper gets +1/+1 and vigilance until end of turn. The deck was really clean.
Yeah.
My only losses, I lost in 3. Each time I lost, I went 3-3, by the way. I lost my first round. I won my next 3. I then lost, and every loss was in 3, which means I took a game off in every single match that I played and lost in. First one was to a pretty clean red-white or red-blue artifact sack list that had the one, when it flips face up, you deal damage equal to that creature's power. And it's anytime you flip up any card. So I stabilized.
Very powerful rare.
I stabilized in game 3 at 4. It's an uncommon, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so. Maybe it's not.
I think it's a rare, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's very good.
They flipped a Bubble Smuggler, which then shot me for 6.
Ooh.
And so I died to a flip Bubble Smuggler. And I was like, well, that's it. The other game I lost to, which was crazy, my opponent was playing green-black. 2 Deadly Cover-Ups.
Oh, wow.
The green-black, just when you collect evidence, you can destroy an artifact, enchantment, a creature.
Urgent Necromancy or something like that? Urgent Necromancy? I can't remember.
And Vein Ripper. I was like, that deck, and we went to 3 because my deck was sweet. So, cooked.
Dude, Field Nukes are already very, very good and limited, but there's 2 in this format, and because you get more rares now as play boosters, man... Two Field Nukes is nice.
I've felt from play boosters that the decks have been more juiced.
Yeah.
I've been like, these packs are
Well, now you can play for your theme really hard. Could you imagine we had play boosters of Eldraine or Ixalan? You'd be like, 2 Gotreks? Yeah, I'll play a mono red.
Yeah, sounds fine.
A splash white.
Yeah. So that was my list, and I felt really proud going into the Mr. Metronome went 3-2 and then dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think you said Quarter Callings was there.
Quarter Calls O2'd.
Yeah, O2'd. And then he helped you with your deck or whatever?
He did. He gave me a deck tech in person. Yeah. And there was one card that I should have changed, and it was true. It was not good in the main board. It was basically, I had the 1/4 that can search for an enchantment.
Sure.
Top 6. You could put one on the
I like that guy.
I was only running 1 enchantment. It was just the Case of the Lockhouse. So if you weren't hitting it, the card felt terrible.
Yeah.
You couldn't grab anything else. So...
I like that card though when you do have detectives and a lot of cases. Oh man, that guy is so nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool though. You got to meet somebody that you really respect, and he helped you out with your deck, and you got to perform better than him in the actual tournament, which is really cool. Yeah, because I think in the standard, I want to say Doomwake scrubbed out, a bunch of other people scrubbed out.
No, Doomwake made day 2.
Did he?
And Jesse also.
I can't remember then. There was a couple content creators that scrubbed out. And CCR actually beat the Toxic player that beat me to knock him out of day 2 in the final round. I was like, that's funny because Melee shows you all like the stats, like who you paired against. So I was like, just clicking on it. I'm like, I wonder who this guy played against after. Get in day 2, and it's like Chris Castro Rappel or something like that. And I was like, oh, he lost the CCR. Dang, like what's going on? This is so cool. You get to see all the stats. That's I don't know, it's pretty cool. I got to see like I was like the 11th best Azorius Control player. I was like, damn, there was a lot of Azorius Control. Oh my god.
Azorius Control, I think, was the third most popular deck.
Yeah, third most popular deck. Yeah, which I felt really good because I like meta called that was going to be the meta. What Esper Midrange, Convoke, Azorius Control, and it was almost exactly to my predictions, which is why I had Cryptic Coat in my main board.
Which was my idea.
And yeah, no, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, I said I'm going to do that instead of Hornlocked Whale, and then you were like, I'm going to do that too. Which is really funny because I specifically came up with that tech and I didn't like it afterwards. I regret not changing it for Jace, but if I had played any mirrors, I think I never got to try out the Cryptic Coat. But there was I got no mirror matches. I was hoping for some mirror matches. I built my deck expecting at least 1 or 2 mirrors, and I got none.
Well, and I was expecting aggro, and I didn't get it. I got mid-range, control, reanimator.
I probably should have prepped more for Toxic. When I finally played against that guy in that round, I was like, oh, I lost. I don't... temporary lockdown. All right, I guess March. Toxic just has March's Sorely Mist is such a nasty card. I hate that their counterspell proliferates or whatever. No, it's a hard counter. The bounce that proliferates. Oh, that card just feels so nasty to play against.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what? What is this? Why does it also proliferate? Like, no.
The whole set proliferated. That's why.
Yeah, but like that bounce just feels so good against you. Like bounce your lockdown, get my guys back, proliferate. I'm gonna hit you. Yeah, I'm at 9 poison. I can't target you at all because you have venerated Rot Priest or something. Like,
you know what I think it was? I think that week we were both testing separately, and when we came to the shop, we were like, I think we're going to do Cryptic Coat. And I was like, oh yeah, I was doing that earlier this week too. Because we both took out Lock Whale.
Well, we both took out Lock Whale, but I thought you were playing Ezreal. I remember going, I'm going to play Cryptic Coat. I remember going, I'm playing Cryptic Coat over the Lock Whale because I don't like the Lock Whale at all.
Well, I
hate the whale.
I also took out, we were talking about Ezreal, and I was telling you why I took out Ezreal before you were like, nah. And it was because the card feels so bad into Sunfall. Like, so in the mirror matchup, it doesn't even matter because if they Sunfall it, it's like the protection doesn't even do anything. Yes, the card replaces itself, but 5 mana replaces itself, 6 mana replaces itself.
I think also because of how many temporary lockdowns we play, I don't like the Cryptic Coat because it just kind of like, they don't really mesh well together. Like the main board, Cryptic Coat, temporary lockdown. Like besides mirror matches, I don't know. I didn't like Cryptic Coat. I'm not really a fan of Chromhost Seed Shark either. I like Jace a lot, and I just like having more counter spells for these kind of matchups. I mean, if it's genuinely just gonna be a control mirror, just give me more counter magic, and then just try to like outplay with the Wandering Emperor and your lands, etc. I mean, obviously the person that has more like win conditions might end up just closing it out, but
right.
I feel like Farewell is just good enough that like, oh, you played for Ezreal or you played for Seed Shark, I can deal with that. I'm more afraid of your lands and like a Mirrex or something.
Gosh.
But I won't know until I get to play more standard because I never get to play the mirror matches this weekend.
Yeah. So this week, before this week, I did have a thing about wanting to talk about a little bit about like friends and content creators. Unless you had anything.
No, go for it.
Yeah. So I did get to picture with Protocols, talk to.
Frank posted all his cute pictures on Discord if you guys want to see them.
Yeah, both the Lords Limited guys, and the last one is like my favorite content creator for Commander is Maldhound. Do you know of Maldhound?
I never heard of him.
Okay, TLDR does not on Twitter.
Sure.
Just does TikToks.
Sure.
And he just like talks about Commanders, and it's like a comedy bit. Like what type of players are playing those Commanders.
I might have seen his bits.
Yeah, and his stuff is funny.
Yeah.
Like, and his bit at the end is whether or not like that commander could get it. and so I got to talk to him, and he was telling me like one of the coolest things was, I was like, yeah, dude, I just think your stuff's really fresh. I think it's really funny, and like it's really witty, and that's the stuff I appreciate. Like it's not like cheap humor. Like, and he's like, oh, thanks. I'm really glad that you find it funny because I spend like sometimes like an hour or two, like writing that script.
Yeah.
And I was like, good for you for putting in that work. Like he puts work into every episode. And so like,
I mean, if it's that funny, you feel it for sure.
Yeah. And I
People
actually
underestimate how much work goes into like that. Like, oh, TikTok, it's like 12 seconds. Like, yeah, but like, did you laugh? It didn't come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, and that's kind of what got me into playing Commander was his videos. Was because for me, I liked grind. I like constructed formats, and I like competitive Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got tired of competitive Magic, or I like needed a break, like his jokes about Commander made me like be like, I'll give it a try, and like play with my buddies.
Sure.
And it made me realize like what about Commander I like doing, because it's for me it's the people, like whoever I'm playing with.
Yeah.
Is what makes me want to play Commander. Because if someone's like, oh, well, you know, I just really love my deck. Oh, combo turn 3. Or, you know, someone is like, well, I just love cats and dogs. So I'm going to... like, not into that. I'm there to, like... It's kind of like D&D. You ever play D&D?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there are people that like to role play, and it's about, like, the strategy.
Yeah.
And there's people that like to role play. And that's the stuff where it's like, oh, you're not playing with us because you're too busy, like being your orc giant, and you just got to bust through doors, like, and ignore the rest of us because, like, that's what my character would do. Like, okay, I don't want to play with you. Like, if you want to, like, play pretend, this is not for us. Like,
Sure.
I'm here for the strategy. And so for me,
in Commander.
not for the sleep.
Jared, where you at, bro? I'm gonna fall asleep. No, just kidding.
That was my point.
I get where
you're
coming from.
Is like the certain, if I'm around people that like, I don't know, it's the people I'm playing Commander with that matters, and the people I'm playing D&D with that makes the game for me.
Yeah, of course. It's like it's always gonna be about like who you're playing with, but I definitely get where you're coming from. Like as a shop owner, I get to see a lot of pods, and I can always tell who I would enjoy playing with. However, I will say that when I play Commander, I always enjoy myself because I will make the game fun for myself no matter what. I will find a way. I think for myself, I don't even care about the results if I lose in a big tournament. You think I care if I lose this Commander game? You know what I mean? So like,
sure.
I just treat it like a game, and people, I think that triggers some people or blows their minds, like that I can just sit there and not care that I'm about to lose Commander and just like, I'm going to blow up that. Why? Because you spoke to me last. You know what I mean? Like, well, now you learned. Like sometimes
you go and learn today.
So like I get a lot of people that I don't have a deck. I just don't have one. All my cards are in the store. So when people want me to play, I'm like, sure, you gotta let me borrow a deck. So I'm like borrowing their deck, and usually it only takes me a couple minutes to figure out what their deck does and play it competently. No problem. But there's a lot of new Commander cards, and so I have to read some of them. They have like 4,000 words on them. So I'll be like reading an
Magic
essay.
2024.
Yeah, I'm like reading an essay. I'm like, oh, this is a
dissertation.
Yeah, it's shortened to enters, so 2 less words, 4 paragraphs. I got it. That's what that card does. So I'll be like reading a card, and the guy next to me is like, why is this guy taking so long? I'm like, oh, I got it. Attack you. What? Well, you made it really easy for me, buddy. Like that's the kind of stuff that I do. Or like I used to have a Mardu deck that was like only removal spells, and I would just call it Mardu, kill the most expensive card on the table. Like whatever it was. Oh, well, Edgar Markov. Oh, dual land, Field of Ruin. So like Commander is just a blast. I don't know. I always have a good time, but yeah, I like it more when the decks are built for fun. Like CEDH is cool and all, I guess. Like if you're into that, I'm not gonna hate you. I am a Magic enjoyer. However you want to play Magic, enjoy your Magic. I'm not gonna hate on you for that, but for myself personally, I love seeing people that are like, oh, dude, I built this like. I don't even know their commander names because nobody plays them, but like they'll have like a commander that came out of like a precon, like the backup commander from a precon from like 2019 or something. And I'm like, I'm playing this guy as a commander because he has this one specific niche, and I built my whole deck around that. I'm like, All right. I have this one friend who has a hunter deck that you like put the murder tokens on the guys or whatever.
Yes.
And all the cards in his deck are like guns or killing, murder, or they have a gun in the artwork. I'm like, that is so cool. That's his whole deck. I'm like, that's awesome, you know? I used to have an all angels deck that was Kalia, but it was only angels. So like I was like Kalia's angels, like Charlie's angels, no demons, no dragons. And like people were like, and it was the bad Kalia. Look at the top 6 cards of my deck. One singular angel. Like that's it. Yes, that's it. I don't know. It's just a good time.
I'd describe it like this. I want to be around people that are there to have fun, because that's what I'm doing when I'm playing Commanders. I'm just trying to have a good time. So part of it's about attitude. If you're building a deck that's like just about guns, but then you're getting mad that like other people are beating you, I'm like, dude, you put pictures of guns.
Yeah.
You can't build a meme.
It reminds me of like,
and then also get mad that you're losing to people that didn't build memes.
I've never met anybody that built a meme deck that got upset during a game. But
I have.
I love like I'll be like, so my computer's over there. I'll be sitting there doing some work stuff, making sure all the events are ready for the next month. There's a million card games now, and I like listen to some Commander pods, and there's always like the one guy that's like, well, I was gonna do something, but you killed my commander. like, oh, please don't do that, field nuke. I want to do something really cool on my turn. Well, does your really cool thing end the game and you win? Yeah, but like it'd be really cool if you let me do that. No.
Yeah. See, that's the stuff that I can't. That's the stuff that I can't do. The opposite side of that is I also can't do. Like, look, I am not playing Magic if you're comboing me on turn 2. If you're walking to my pod with me where I have a deck that like is a 7, maybe an 8 on its best game, and you're like, oh, I'm CDH, yeah, guys, I'll play with you. My deck's no big deal. Combo. I'm like, okay, dude, you know what I mean? Like when you feel like really cool coming over to my pod to do that, I'm like, cool, it's great. We're playing another game. You're not in. No.
Kind of reminds me of what I was talking to you about earlier with Eric. My buddy Eric Jackson would have like the craziest like turn 2 kills, and then we'd be like, that's awesome, man, you win. And then the rest of us would just keep playing without him, like, yep, land go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, somebody does that to me, I'm like, thanks, I got my one game in, gotta go back to work.
Yeah. Speaking of Commander, one of the things that was so cool about like opposite of content creators is one of the friends that I got to see. I talked about it earlier, Eric.
Oh yeah.
I was playing Magic when I was in high school, and I didn't have like money at the time, and so there were just like a couple guys that like weren't giving me cards, but like they would just help me build decks. They would help me make something competent with the budget that I had, and they would really just teach us how to play Magic. Like not just like I did know a guy that would play Ral Zurich in Standard. It was like Jeskai Super Friends.
Yeah.
And just like wipe me almost every time that we play. And just be like, you know, and just, that was it.
Flip 5 coins.
Yep.
3 extra turns.
Yeah. And like you just get stomped. And then they'd be like, all right, cool, which is fine. But these guys would help us like get better at Magic, and I really appreciated that. And they'd invite us over and stuff like that. Yeah, and he tried getting me a job when I first got out of college. And when I saw him, I was like, Eric, it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
And he was like, we've got to get some games together. And so on day 3, I didn't have anything scheduled. I played in one sealed. No, it was a draft, and I took second.
Nice.
And then after that sealed, I found Eric and we played a couple pods together, and it was just like
nice. Good time.
Yeah, good time, you know. And that was cool to be like, I knew you when I was a lot younger and had nothing, and now like you can just go and play Magic, and like I've got my own decks, and that was sweet.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And not to make it like a morbid thing, but like we've lost a lot of friends in like the last 10 years. Like I've lost so many homies way too young. Like shout outs like Steve Skolsky, Brian Shu, ton of people. And you know, you never get to play Commander with the guys ever again. So like when I go to MagicCon or anywhere, you come into the shop and I see, one, you're alive, you're healthy, you're doing well. You got a good job.
Yeah.
You're married. If I haven't heard from you in a while, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
So I love seeing that shit. I'll go on Facebook just to add people from like high school. Like, yo, you're still doing well. I'm awesome, man. You know, so like really good seeing a ton of people, and people seem to be doing more or less better off. Like, so I was really happy because like I saw a lot of people that when I last saw them, I was like, damn, well, I hope they're gonna, figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out.
And we all go through those phases, so you gotta look after your homies. And I'm glad that, for the most part, it seemed like everybody was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You got anything else to talk about, or are we wrapping up?
Last one, standard this weekend.
True, I was gonna bring that up.
So just highlight, what are the tech changes that you're making going into the weekend?
So I don't know if it's possible that Todd can put my deck list up with like an image, but if he does, that'd be cool. But if you want to know what my 75 was that Frank and I played, it's in the Discord. I already put the photos. What I wanted to do was add 3 to 4 Jaces. I liked the mana base a lot. I didn't want to change the mana base. Also, if you didn't know, Sunken Citadel cheapens the discard effects of the Otawara and Eiganjo. So I extra like I wasn't certain about that, but it never came up in any of my games, so I never called judge.
Sure.
Today when I was playing Arena, it happened, and I was like, awesome. But anyways, 2 Sunken Citadels. Maybe I could be convinced to not play 4 Seacrum Coast and play like a Meticulous Archive or an Adhikar Waste, a 3rd Sunken Citadel maybe. But I was really happy with 4 Seacrum Coast, 4 Deserted Beach, 2 Sunken Citadels, 4 Field of Ruins, 2 Murex, 3 Restless Anchorage. Like I said, maybe I could play the 4th Reckless Anchorage instead of the 4th Seacrum Coast. Maybe you could convince me, but it was 27 lands. 6 basic lands is what I had. I was really happy with the mana base, like 99% of the time. Sometimes you get those really bad variance hands. It is what it is, but in general, I thought the mana base was really clean. Because you have 27 lands, though, and Standard doesn't let you miss a land drop, you can't really fit too much in your deck. So I liked 3 Wandering Emperors. I think 4 Memory Deluge is like not optional.
Not optional.
4 Deduce. I know some people were playing 3, but I really feel like 4 Deduce was not optional. You just want to be drawing cards. Every hand with a Deduce, I always felt good, especially by Mulligan. That clue is so clutch, even if you're not playing Disruption Protocol. Because I was playing 3 Disruption Protocols. I went down to 2 to fit a Jace in the main board. I was going to cut 2 of them to play 2 Jaces in the main board, but Todd didn't have 4 for me in paper. So I just did 1 Jace in the main. I've got
Phyrexian ones if you want them.
Maybe.
They're just Phyrexian.
I could be convinced. I haven't locked it down, but the changes I made so far was I cut the Cryptic Coat, I cut a 3rd Disruption Protocol for Farewell and Jace. No other changes. In the sideboard, I cut the Cryptic Coat that was there as well because I just felt like I didn't need it. And I cut a Knockout Blow. I don't like not playing 4, but I wanted to try 2 Jaces in the sideboard if I wasn't going to fit them in the main. And so now I have 3 in the 75. Otherwise, I still have 2 Denic, 2 Negates, 2 D-Stroke, 3 Knockout Blows, the fourth Temporary Lockdown, 2 Deshaun's Tidebinders. Like a lot of those cards all just feel so good. And like I said, I don't really care for Ezram. I'm not that high on Chromehost Seed Shark. I know it's good. I know people like it for whatever they like it for. I personally just not a fan of the card, especially because we don't really get to abuse like Leyline Binding. We're not playing Triomes. So I don't know. And you don't even really get to use Memory Deluge. If you Memory Deluge Flashback, it's still 4 counters. So there are no giant incubates when you play Chromehost Seed Shark. And because of the nature of our deck, I feel like we're designed so hard into Lockdown, Sunfall, Farewell. I don't understand why they would want all these Chromehost Seed Sharks, I guess, is where I'm at. But like I'd rather play more Field Nukes. Like I'd rather play 3 Farewells, but I could be wrong. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways you can build a deck, and your deck will be good against some decks and better or worse against decks as a result of the nature of the way you build it, which I think is a really cool thing about Standard. That like if the control deck was just good against everything, like in 2015, I think Standard would be not as fun. Nobody wants to play those do nothing mirrors. It's a lot more fun when you have ways to end the game, whether it be chase or cryptic or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at. I really like standard. I want to play more. I can't play in my 4-hat RCQ this Saturday, but I think we're going to go to First Aid Comics on Sunday.
Hyde Park.
If we Hyde Park. Otherwise, there's also one in Grandmaster Games, which is it Charlie that owns it?
Yeah, he's not there anymore. He's in Colorado.
Okay, but I know that who's the other guy?
Ross isn't.
He's not in there anymore.
No.
Yeah, well, Charlie is good people, so I try to support other game stores if I can, and I think we're gonna end up going to First Aid Comics, and that means we get to see Raul.
Yeah, Raul.
Raul's a good dude. I get to run into him at MagicCon too.
Yeah,
great dude, super friendly judge, extremely helpful person. If you ever have Magic questions, that guy is the go-to. Like he's right up there with Kai for me. If you guys know Judge Kai, follow him on TikTok. Hilarious guy, really really funny. I mean, all the judges in our area are just such good people. So helpful. Add them on Facebook. You know, show them some love, man. They are some good people, and honestly, they don't do it for the money, man. Judging Magic, it is you get yelled at a lot, but I don't agree with your ruling. You know what I mean? Like, I saw some of that at MagicCon. Actually, we were laughing at all the people that were like getting mad at the judges. When I was playing with Dana, there was some guys like a couple tables next to us that were just like arguing with the judge, and she just kept going like, and I'm just like, I'm laughing my ass off because I'm just like, me too, girl. You know, like we could pause our game a little bit. What's going on over there?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
But yeah. What about you?
Yeah, for me personally, I am one of the decks that like I was playing before I was on the blue-eye control list was Esper. And I went off of Esper. I couldn't find a list that I liked, and at the time Domain was really prevalent. Now that Domain is on the downswing and less people are playing it, and Domain is starting to angle their deck more in a way to try and beat like Boros Convoke because they need to, it weakens the matchup against mid-range.
Well, they need to play Temporary Lockdown now, and Lockdown is like aggressively medium against Esper. Like sometimes you're like, yes, 2 bats. You know?
Yeah, and that's the best thing because you're only playing like bats and some amount of Denix, and that's it for
Fairy
2
Mastermind, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, and
honestly, Fairy Mastermind is scary as a control player. Like I'm like, please don't flash me on turn 2.
Yeah,
just don't do it.
But what I was gonna say is Jarrett, our buddy down in Arizona, who we both.
Jarrett's like one of the owners at Borja. He's the third in the triage. He's just stuck in Arizona right now. Really, really good player. He's been on the Pro Tour multiple times. He's where I got good at Magic from. I credit him for like my success because out of high school, I played a lot with his younger brother who has passed away. Rest in peace, Keegan. But Jarrett got me like whipped into shape, and since then I've only gotten better. So Jarrett's a great player, and if you think I'm mean at teaching, Jarrett's the king at making fun of people when they play. But he's really good, and he sent Frank here an updated Esper list that I think he likes, and that you said you liked as well.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. And what it is in the style of what I like for Magic is when you are playing lists that like kind of have some slots that are flexy.
Yeah,
he flexes his flex slots to hedge against blue-eye control and Domain, which to me I think are both prevalent matchups and weaker matchups for this deck.
Well, not to mention like if you can get game 1 off of them, let me tell you, I can't stand losing game 1 to Esper because I know it's going to be almost impossible to win the match if I let them beat me in a 20-minute or more game, because the sideboard games only get grindier.
Yeah. And so one of the things that Jarrett does that I really like is that main board of Wandering Emperor, which feels really good into like mid-range stuff.
Does he still play the Aclazotz?
Does 1 Aclazotz main.
See, I like that. A lot of people were playing 2 in the mid-range deck in the main. I think 1 is plenty.
And it's such like if you're playing in the mirror and they don't have 1, you're like game over.
Yep.
Like you have no way of dealing with this, and it's big.
Yeah. There's just enough matchups, like for example against Control. I'm like, why do you have 2 of that? That doesn't feel right. But like but you're gonna draw so many cards. 1, no problem.
Yeah. Plus with Tashana's Tidebinder in the main board, it really just like it hurts a lot.
Well, at that point, you're just playing a flash deck that has elements of the blue-white control deck in your mid-range deck that draws a ton of cards and honestly beats face really fast. If you let the Esper deck do its thing, it can kill you almost as fast as Boros.
Yeah, and on top of it, like there is one Lord Skitter main board. It does. I always felt like Lord Skitter.
He's playing Lord Skitter? Really?
Yeah, wow. A single main board. It helps.
I guess graveyard hate is really kind of prevalent right now.
Well, and that's the thing with the new deck that like won the Lord Skitter and the Dennick in the main board.
Well, not just the new deck that won. I feel like there's 4 or 5 decks now that I would personally be afraid of. Where like, I mean, that's why I was playing more Farewells. I'm like, dude, the graveyard matters now.
Graveyard matters.
Rakdos, Cruelty Gigs, etc. Golgari is playing all these guys out of the graveyard, like Tenacious Underdog, Mosswood Dread Knight, etc.
Blossoming Tortoise is getting stuff.
Virtual Persistence is all over the place. Blossoming Tortoise. I think, yeah, man, like not just the Slogger combo deck. I mean, 4-color Legends, you know, another one. Like Lord Skitter, probably a lot better than people give it credit for right now.
Yeah, and when I did play against the Slogger deck, the new one, it was like a kill on sight because they'd put their lands in the bin and it'd be like every turn, remove one.
Oh, speaking of the Slogger deck, the new combo deck, it's a great deck, but man, that is a paper only deck. I've played against that deck so many times now since the MagicCon, and I've not lost to it. But it is miserable to play against.
You got to hit resolve all every time.
Dude,
resolve all the triggers.
You have to hit resolve all. And if you don't, by the way, okay, so I was playing against this guy today. I was so mad because I'm hitting like resolve all and it's still cutting off my rope. I'm like, it's his turn. What do you mean? And then it's cutting my rope to the point where I lost all 4 ropes in one turn. This guy fails to combo twice in a match. I'm like, what are you doing? It cuts my rope down while he's going. I'm hitting resolve all. I'm like, why am I losing rope? And then it goes, oh, you don't get any more responses. So while he's doing his combo, he just throws a Jace out. I can't counter it with my negate that I've been holding up. I'm like, why can't I counter that Jace? Oh, you lost all your 4 ropes. When? I don't remember having priority. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, you had a half-second priority for each individual trigger of his 4,000 triggers in the stack. Cool. Thanks. Arena is so... Oh,
Small
man.
indie company.
Small indie company, man. Makes me so mad sometimes. I'm going to start saying some gamer words. Just like, I just, you know, like, just be like, you know, I don't know, man. I just want to, I get so mad at Arena sometimes. I'm like, this, I try not to curse on the podcast, you know, like this S doesn't work, you know, like.
It's been a lot today.
I did quite a few today, yeah. I'm trying to be more myself, but at the same time, I curse a lot in person and
YouTube,
I don't want to drop
our YouTube is dropping by the minute.
Yeah. I just don't want to drop any F-bombs, and like Arena makes me want to say the F word a lot, dude. Like it's programmed so garbage. It's like, oh my god, man! Like, just please hire like 2 guys. You just fired 1,000 people, like 1,000 people, right?
Yeah, Hasbro.
They just fired 1,000 people. Hire like 4 guys back. Like, oh, I actually fixed the game. Like, nope. But yeah, anyways, this guy's just like fumbling the combo and then hitting me with the oops. I'm like, oops. Like, what do you mean, oops? Head explodes. Oh, man, whatever, dude. I learned nothing. Thank you. I'm over here, like, taking notes. Like, okay, how does this deck work? I really got to understand it for this Friday or this weekend. Never mind. Anyways.
So, that's our show. Left MagicCon feeling more confident to A, make content, but B, play Magic. I'm like ready, baby. It's go time.
Yeah, I do want to play. Honestly, it got me really into it. I was talking to my aunt about it after MagicCon. I went to see my aunt to do taxes, and she was telling me about how like my younger cousin, she's in like dance competitions, and she was showing me like videos, and she's like, yeah, she just got first place at these dance competitions in Rosemont. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Like, just kind of competing in anything kind of makes life more fun. You know what I mean? Just like having a hobby. And I think Magic is like one of the best hobbies. Maybe I'm a little biased, but it's just such a good time because of like the community. And I just want to play more now and play more competitive Magic. I was just messaging Dakota and Norma and Erdridge like, you know what? Maybe I am going to see you guys at the next NRG because I'm feeling it, you know? Like,
we cooking.
Yeah, and honestly, if I qualify for the RC, I might actually go to DreamHack. And I don't even like DreamHack.
Well, it's not DreamHack anymore, baby.
It is for 3 more RCs.
Oh, sadness. Just kidding. It will be DreamHack actually, for a few more, baby.
Sadness on the stack.
Yeah, sad.
Resolve all.
Resolve all.
Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you guys. Before we get out of here, some shout outs quickly. MTG Chicago, please show some support. Hit subscribe to his YouTube channel. Sal's a good buddy of ours. Lets us use his cameras for free. Lets us use his SD cards for free. Just a man of the people. He does it all for free. Does it for the community.
People.
Just wants to get some gameplay out there. Convinced me to revive Legacy out here for the guys that enjoy Legacy at the Boar Hat. It's thanks to him. He was like, let's do some Legacy. Now we're doing it every month, and we allow playtest cards. Yeah, I mean, like, I built 5 decks just to help people play. It's really cool. Nancy Steroids, intro and outro music, and whenever Frank's playing on stream, got his music going there as well. Really good music. And shout out to everybody that bought a playmat. Do I have one up here really quick? Boom. Shout out to everybody that bought one of these bad boys. But we had a bunch of these for MagicCon, and a lot of our friends were using them, and it was really cool, and I'm grateful. I really appreciate the people that showed support. I mean, some people at the shop just bought one just because, so I thought that was really cool, and made us really happy. What about you?
Shout out to Boar's Hat Gaming for allowing us to do all of our content here. If you are looking to get one of those playmats, you can go to Boar's Hat Gaming's website and get some there. Also, if you want some sealed product as well, please feel free. Check out Boar's Hat Gaming. Last shout out is, of course, to Todd, who does all of the visual video stuff that we get. We couldn't have cards flying up like crazy without Todd's help. And so thank you there as well.
We went easy on you this time.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who tunes into our show. Thank you again to the patrons. And we'll see you next time, probably for getting a recap of what happened at our RCQs, and then starting to prep for Thunder Junction and moving into the Pioneer RCQ season.
Yeah, hopefully next time you see us, we'll be qualified for the RC. If not, you can blame us in the comments. Anyways, that's our show. We'll see you next time. Tales of the Tap out.
Have a good one.
Bye.